What's up guys, my name is Joe and we are back with another episode of British Guy Reacts, and today we are reacting to top 10 facts about America that don't make sense to anybody else. So I am one of those anybody else's. We're going to check out these 10 facts and see if they make sense to me, or if they don't. You guys, let me know down in the comments if these facts are actually true, if they're not, if you were aware of them or not, and whether they make sense to you. Also, let me know some other videos you want me to react to in the future. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here and you do enjoy the video, and give that video a like. We're going to jump straight into this. Let's go.
Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching Top 10's Net, and in the video
Simon.
today we're looking at the top 10 facts about America that make no sense to anyone else.
So this could be controversial already because we got a British guy spitting out American facts here. So let's see how this goes. He sounds very British as well. Top 10.
America. It's one of the biggest countries on Earth, both in terms of population and sheer size. It's the planet's dominating superpower, the heaviest hitter where culture is concerned, and a place known by nearly every single human being on the planet, and to all but the 4 to 5% of humanity who live there, it makes absolutely no gosh darn sense. You see, despite its cultural clout, America is still deeply weird to foreigners. And we don't just mean people who come from repressive kingdoms and tin-pot dictatorships. Europeans, people from Southeast Asia, Australians and Brits, we all find huge chunks of the good old US of A little bit beyond comprehension. If you were born stateside, well, maybe this video isn't going to be weird for you, but trust me, every foreigner watching this is watching with their jaw dangling open and their eyeballs popping out. Number 10. US toddlers shoot one person a week.
Yo, that's crazy. If that's true, that is crazy already. I was joking with the jaw dropping and the eyes popping. What?
Popping out. Number 10. US toddlers shoot one person a week. Jesus. Americans sure love guns. The US has the highest rate of gun ownership on planet Earth and the least restrictive gun laws. Only Switzerland comes close. That's all thanks to the Second Amendment, which has been the subject of near constant debate since being written. But it's not the sheer number of guns in America that really astounds foreigners, it's the crazy things that this leads to. Things like US toddlers shooting one person a week.
How does that happen?
There's literally no other country on Earth you could write that sentence about. Even countries that are swimming in guns like Serbia, Norway and Switzerland don't have toddlers blowing one another away. To be fair, they have tiny populations, but to be even fairer, come on man. US toddlers have shot on average one person a week, including themselves, for the past 2 years. Even war zones don't have numbers like that. More bizarre still, America keeps on arming its toddlers. In 2016,
Iowa House passes bill to let children of all ages handle guns. Under 14s can have a pistol revolver under parental supervision. Yo, this is crazy to me because nobody has guns here. Not even our police carry guns really, unless it's like a crazy situation going down. I didn't think toddlers would be racking up those sort of statistics. I guess it's just mismanagement of guns, like mothers and fathers who have guns but they're not storing them away properly. Surely you should have them up high, away from a toddler's reach. This is mad.
Iowa made it legal for babies to handle loaded guns. Oh yes, that's right, the guys in the Hawkeye state elected to arm the very babies that are trying to shoot them. How's that for hubris? Number 9. Bestiality is still legal in 9 US states, but premarital sex is outlawed. Despite
What? Why? What is going on here? What are these states?
Like this being 2017, plenty of US states still have sex laws on the books that are, well, let's say unenlightened to say the least.
That's one thing we will say. This is 6 years old, this video. Maybe some of these laws have changed since then, but I don't know.
Books that are, well, let's say unenlightened to say the least. And by that, we mean they were seemingly written by 2 guys named Festus and Bubba while necking with their pet hog Clancy. Incredible as it may seem, there are nearly 10 US states where it is still legal to have sexual intercourse with animals. We say, well, nearly 10 because one's the District of Columbia, not a state, kids. The other 9 are Hawaii, Kentucky, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, Texas, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wyoming.
You're from one of those states. What's going on there? What are you guys getting? I'm joking. I'm not assuming that people actually do this. But surely they need to change the law there. Because You shouldn't be doing that.
In addition, plenty of states still only consider bestiality a misdemeanor. This would be odd enough if the US was a spectacularly licentious place, but it's not. In addition to allowing you to marry your bestest sow, 4 states still outlaw either premarital or extramarital sex, or cohabiting with your partner prior to marriage. While the laws are effectively never enforced, the fact that they're still on the statute books attests to America's unique mix of religious piety and deep-seated desire to mimic the guys from Deliverance. Number 8.
Okay, so you guys might not actually be aware of these laws, that if they're never actually enforced, there we go, but it is odd that they're still on the books. But we have some crazy laws in England that still are on the books, but nobody's really ever heard of, unless you watch one of these YouTube videos about it. If you are enjoying today's video, please click the subscribe button down below. It only takes you 1 second to do, and it helps the channel out a lot. And you get to carry on seeing my amazing videos, so please, just go on, do it, click it. Thank you.
The highest paid public employee in 39 states is a sports coach.
This would have really shocked me before I got into college football, and I've seen that they get paid like millions of dollars to do the job. But there's good reason for it, right? They bring in a lot of money if they are successful. College football's worth a hell of a lot of money. Still not a great stat to have, but I can understand why that is the case.
Go to any other country in the Western world, Canada, Germany, the Czech Republic, New Zealand, wherever, and the highest paid public employee will be someone working in a selfless capacity. They'll be the guys and gals running universities or public hospitals or the local council. America, though, laughs in the face of such devotion to the public good. Instead of rewarding headmasters or doctors or teachers, the highest public pay package in 39 states goes to sports coaches. Specifically, guys coaching football or men's basketball. Oh, we're not talking comparatively small sums either. The salaries involved would be enviable in the private sector. University of Alabama football coach Nick Saban, for example, rakes in over $7 million plus bonuses, likely making him one of the highest paid public employees not living in a corrupt dictatorship. For those from outside the US...
But when he says a public employee, is that coming from like taxpayers' money? I'm not sure how the college system works in America, but I know the tuition fees are massive. I don't know if like the colleges are private businesses or they are like government run, government funded. Let me know in the comments if you do know the answer to that.
Yes, this seems less extravagant and more like an absolute inability to get their priorities right. Only Alaska, Delaware, Hawaii, Maine, Montana, New York, Nevada, New Hampshire, Vermont, and both Dakotas refuse to award their highest pay packet to a football or men's basketball coach. Interestingly, both Hawaii and Vermont, as you'll remember from a second ago, still technically allow bestiality. We're really not sure what to make of that. Number 7. Over half of all Americans don't hold a valid passport.
Again, before he spits his facts on this one, this is something that would have not angered me, but surprised me, and I would have found it a little bit ignorant previously. But since doing a lot of these American travel videos and US travel videos, again, I can see why some people don't leave America. Although I feel like everybody should leave their country at some point. You got so much traveling to do within your own country. You got every landscape available, every biome available. You got so many different varieties of places, and it's such a big country. I can see why some people just choose to stay in America. So let's let him speak his facts.
2014, polling company YouGov revealed that only 8% of Britons had never left their country of birth to travel abroad. While this is maybe not that super impressive, Britain is tiny and is close to France, it puts the US to shame. The same poll found that only 50% of Americans would admit to ever having left the country.
That is a big percentage.
That's nearly 160 million people who have never been to Canada or Mexico, let alone Europe or Asia. For people who were born in Europe, that's almost like saying you've never seen a glass of water. The idea of not going abroad from time to time is alien. In places like Germany, over 90% of the population hold a valid passport, and you better believe they use it. But that's Europe, we hear you cry. It's a small continent with like a bazillion countries. Well, first, we're pretty sure you're exaggerating, and second, look at Australia, a country nearly as big as the US and more cut off from the rest of the world. According to official data, 1/3 of the population goes abroad every single year. That compares to 50% of Americans over their entire lifetimes. Clearly, the US is a travel-averse country. Number 6. 30% of Americans...
Let me know your views on that one, guys. Let me know down below. Have you been to another country? Would you like to go to another country in the future? And which one would you like to go to?
Americans prefer saving money to vital medical treatment. Compared to other developed nations, healthcare in the US is expensive. You can blame that on too much Obamacare or not enough of it, but the fact remains that public systems, and public-private systems elsewhere in the world all deliver better service at lower cost. This alone can seem staggering to foreigners. Then there's the American attitude to health. Faced with a serious illness or injury, around 30% of Americans would rather walk it off than pay for treatment. This, well, it simply doesn't happen anywhere else. Norway has the second most expensive healthcare system in the world, and pretty much no one there avoids necessary treatment. Japan has an insurance-based private system with payments often covered by employers, just like the US, and people don't skip out on medical care. In order to find other people who are skipping out on hospitalization to save money, you have to leave the developed world behind and start poking around in poorer countries where wages are low and healthcare is unaffordable. We're not trying to rag on American healthcare here. America has some of the best doctors and hospitals in the world. But the idea that you'll choose money over health, or that you'd have to choose two non-Americans, that's kind of insane. Number 4.
Yeah, if you're one of those people, you look after yourself, you know? Health is definitely more important than money. Look after yourself, unless it is something you can get by without going and getting checked out. But if it's something serious, you've got to get yourself down to a hospital.
5. 7 states have custody rights for rapists. Okay, let's turn to some really dark stuff now. There exists a certain subsection of guys who, well, they like to rape women. Occasionally, this results in their victims getting pregnant. Depending on where they live and their religious convictions, the women may then decide to carry the baby to term. Now, here's where it gets really creepy. In around 7 states, it's perfectly legal for the rapist father to sue for custody of his newborn child. Just imagine that for a second. You've been violently assaulted, you've gone through the hell of guilt and self-recrimination, been courageous enough to bring the resulting baby into the world, and now you're forced to watch as the D-bag who hurt you decides he wants to be a father to your son or daughter. Well, if you live in Alabama, Mississippi, Maryland, New Mexico, North Dakota, Wyoming, or Minnesota, that can totally happen. In addition, there are 20 more states where it might be legal. In Indiana, for example, you can only block the rapist from seeking custody if you remember to do so within 3 months of your baby being born. This is some seriously dark stuff, and we guarantee...
This is some seriously dark stuff. This one's took me by surprise. Like, yeah, this is deep. This is dark. When I clicked on this video, top facts about America that make no sense to anyone else, I was expecting some petty laws, some stupid stuff. This is deep, man. That one's wild.
That if you mention it to anyone from anywhere else in the developed world, their jaws will drop so low they hit the ground. Okay, sure, some Middle East states may have even worse laws, but that's not really a benchmark to aspire to, is it? Number 4. America has more self-identified patriots than anywhere else on Earth. In 2016, Gallup released the results of their yearly patriotism poll. They found that 52% of Americans call themselves extremely patriotic, which is the lowest level in polling history. The news triggered a slew of introspective articles by American writers wondering what had gone wrong. For those reading elsewhere in the world, though, it felt like stepping through the looking glass. 52% is such a good score that it leaves other countries eating the USA's dust.
I was going to say, this one doesn't surprise me that America's probably one of the most patriotic countries in the world. Maybe somewhere like China would also be. But America, I think that makes sense to everyone. Everyone knows that. We see the sports games where you sing the national anthem before everything you do. And it's good that you're proud of your own country, you know? I don't know why it's come down so much.
Such levels of patriotism simply don't exist in the rest of the developed world. In a similar survey by YouGov, only 13% of Brits thought their country was the best in the world. That was the highest score in the EU. Germany and France got only 5% each. The second and third highest ranking countries globally, India and Australia, who scored 34% and 30%.
Oh, I was wrong then. I thought China would be super high. India and Australia.
Third highest ranking countries globally, India and Australia, who scored 34% and 36% respectively. But the US? Well, the US busted through the 40% mark, with an additional 32% claiming America was at the very least better than most other countries. For the majority of foreigners, the idea of showing US levels of patriotism is simply alien. You will never see a flag in every yard in any other country on Earth, but that's the US public for you, optimistic to a T. Even if they're unhappy with their current government, folks still believe that the idea of America itself is worth believing in. Number 3. Americans are more likely to get bitten by other Americans than rats.
These facts are all over the place. Some are deep, some are just funny. What's this? This either means you have a really low percentage of like rats, like a low level of rats that are attacking people. I've never heard of anyone getting bitten by a rat in England either. But it also means you got Americans biting people.
Americans are more likely to get bitten by other Americans than rats. The stereotype is that Americans like 3 things: football, fast food, and violence, often all at once. It's true that America's murder rate is crazy high. It's also true that the national sport is getting drunk and starting bar fights. But surely it's not as bad as all that. Well, we hate to break it to you, but this arresting statistic says otherwise. If you live in America, you are more likely to be bitten by another American than you are by a rat. To be clear, this isn't because US rats are particularly docile or rare on the ground. Cities like New York are completely infested and people are getting bitten all the time. There are over 40,000 rat bites recorded in America each year. The only trouble is there are at least 45,000 human bites recorded right alongside them. Again, this is a freaky fact for Americans too, but also again, it's just something that doesn't happen in most other countries. Sure, drunks in Britain do like to hit each other and Italian soccer hooligans are violent as heck, but biting enough people to outstrip rats, it's something we can't imagine happening anywhere else. Number 2.
I mean, there's been much worse ones so far, but that's the oddest one so far. Why 45,000 people a year biting someone else? What is going on?
Americans take fast food extremely literally. The United States is the birthplace of fast food. It's the nation that brought the world the drive-thru, perfected the snack, and coined the phrase lunches for wimps. Foreigners know all this intellectually, but confront them with a statistic like the following, and it's still likely to blow their minds. Americans, you see, are the 3rd fastest eaters on Earth. On an average day, Americans spend only 74 minutes eating, nearly the lowest in the world. That's only slightly over 20 minutes each for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and far less if you include time put aside for eating snacks. If you live in the US, this probably doesn't seem so weird to you. The working lunch is an American speciality, but if you live elsewhere, well, you're probably wondering how the heck they do it. In France, the average eating time is 135 minutes a day. In Turkey, it's 162 minutes. Even in Japan, where people work for longer hours than the US, they still manage to put aside 117 minutes a day for chow. The only other countries to spend as little time eating are Canada, 72 minutes, and Mexico, under 70 minutes. This is probably to do with both the American hard work ethic and fast food culture, which prioritizes productivity over relaxation. The same can be seen in a related statistic on cooking times. Nowhere else on Earth do people spend as little time cooking every day as they do in America. Number 1.
Okay, would have never known that fact before. I'm a very fast eater though, so I can't really comment on that one. I always got told off of as a kid from my mum for eating too fast. You spend hours cooking, and I eat the meal in like 5 minutes. So I have nothing to say in that one. Government departments have official advice for reporting Elvis sightings.
Government departments have official advice for reporting Elvis sightings. One of the things foreigners know about the US is that it's full of wackos seeing wacko things. There's a reason The X-Files was so popular 20 years ago. But it's one thing to hear about guys filming shaky footage of Bigfoot on their cell phone. It's another entirely to hear that actual US government departments have official advice for Elvis sightings. For example, there's the federal government's official website for copyright. It's a website that is paid for with taxpayer money, and it includes official advice on how to copyright your sighting of Elvis. This isn't a joke section put up by some light-hearted bureaucrat indulging a whim. It's completely mind-bogglingly serious, which means the government was getting deluged with enough requests about Elvis sightings that they went to the trouble to post official advice about it. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, check out some of our other videos.
So go check out the Top 10's YouTube channel. Do go and subscribe to them. It was a good video. It was a heavily negative video towards America. I didn't realize that when I was clicking on it, but some of these facts are crazy if true. The Toddlers one, that took me by surprise. That's way too high. Bestiality. That one, it's crazy that it's legal, but also surely many people aren't actually doing that. You know, whether it's legal or illegal, I don't think that would even determine whether people do it. Just because it's legal somewhere doesn't mean that people are actually doing it. The highest paid public employee didn't take me by surprise because you guys have let me know some of these college football salaries. The passport one I kind of understand. The medical one, guys, if you're sick, go and get seen to. Stop trying to save all your money. The custody rights for rapists, that one's really bad. Patriots, didn't surprise me. The rat one was just weird, odd. Why have you got so many people biting others? And the fast food also was just... They got a bit silly towards the end. But I did enjoy the video, but I'm also kind of shook a bit by it. You guys let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Like I said, I didn't mean to choose such a negative video, but it is what it is. If you did enjoy it though, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and give the video a like or a dislike if you didn't like these facts. I'll see you for the next one. Take it easy. Peace.